Hello, everyone. I'm Jake.
I'm Hannah. How's everyone doing? We're back.
Talking about
Well,
weeds.
we're back for you. It's been like 30 seconds for us since the last episode of the Bible study, so.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. New energy, too. Got a whole new energy to this episode. So we're doing weeds. We're doing mustard seeds and yeast. And if you're good, as a treat, we'll give you some lamp.
We're continuing with the parables Jesus told, and they're all,
They're all doggy shit. So, I wish they were better. You did sing a good song, though. Are you going to sing the song?
If we get to the lamp thing, I'll sing the song.
Because I'm not from that culture, so I'm gonna need your songs. Okay, so is there? We don't really need to set it up. Jesus was chilling. Again, he abandoned people. He's sitting on a boat. They're sitting on the beach, and he's like, "Don't touch me, Rube. Let me drop some knowledge bombs on you." Much like DJ Jazzy Jeff, Jesus. I assume that's how DJ Jazzy Jeff deals with his rabid fans. Please, stay away. DJ Jeff, the Jazzy, doesn't have personal space. He's constantly hounded by groupies.
This is the most anyone's talked about DJ Jazzy Jeff in 20 years.
Or since the last time we brought him up.
Probably.
So, this is the parable of the weeds. Jesus told them another parable against their will. The kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while everyone was sleeping, his enemy came and sowed weeds among the wheat. Who's this fucking dastardly fella who's like, I'm going to ruin this guy's field, but not by ruining the seeds in it. I'm going to replant weeds. I got dandelions, and I'm replanting them. I got them in like, you know those nursery crates that you get? Yeah, that's cute.
Maybe they got like a pocket full of the things that blow in the wind, and he just opens the pocket. He's like,
oh, is it the fuzzy dandelions?
Yeah, Dandelion Man strikes again.
He didn't take up any traction, but we're gonna give Dandelion Man his what's due to him. Okay, Dandelion Man is destroying the lives of white suburban fathers around this country. All right.
Only next to man who comes into your house and changes the temperature on the thermostat
by 3 degrees. And it's like, we're not trying. I'm trying to heat the world. When you pay the bills, you can set the temperature, thermostat man. Anyway,
always me about that shit.
What?
Okay, my dad was like that.
Yeah, mine too.
And you know what? I fucking pay bills now. It's not that goddamn expensive for 1 fucking degree.
It really isn't that expensive.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah. No, it's not that big a deal. Although Sarah did turn it up to 70 the other day. That's too warm for me. I was schvetty. I was schvetting in my slumber. And I woke up and I was like, "Hey!" I didn't really say that. I was like, "Hey, don't turn it up that high if you can help it." She's like, "It was cold in my office." And I was like, "You know what? That's reasonable." And then we parted. That was it. That was the whole conversation. Anyway. My dad would have been disappointed. When the wheat sprouted and formed heads, then the weeds also appeared. Got him. The owner's servant came to him and said, "Sir, didn't you sow good seeds in your field? Where did then the weeds come from?" And then the man replied, "You're my servant. You don't fucking talk to me like that. You know, I'm a farmer, okay? You don't tell me what." An enemy obviously did this. I weeded it perfectly. Perfect weeding. Everyone knows this about me. The servant asked him, "Do you want us to go and pull them up?" He said, "No! I'm not paying for that. Because while you're pulling the weeds, you may uproot the wheat with them. You're trash. Let both grow together until the harvest. At that time I will tell the harvesters, first collect the weeds and tie them in bundles to be burned. Then gather the wheat and bring it into my barn." Very wise words, Jesus.
This just sounds like the story of a guy who fucked up and had weeds in his field, and he blamed Dandelion Man.
This is the story of a guy who fucked up and had Dandelion Man plant dandelions in his field. No, it didn't work.
What?
You remember
Is
that
this?
song? Says the story of a girl cried a river. And
Oh,
it just didn't work.
that
It's
was
fine.
a fucking stretch and a half.
He was a boy. He was also a boy. Can I make it any more obvious? He had a field. He had some weeds. And he spread them on the field. Anyway. Dandelion man. He deserves more credit, damn it. I'm trying to sing the praises of our favorite hero. Anyway, so that's what happened. What's the lesson to be learned here? You went to Bible school, you're gonna fail catechism.
That's a Catholic thing.
I don't care, you're gonna fail it.
Wait, what was the question?
What's this mean? The parable of the weeds
what's
mean?
the weeds? Sometimes either Dandelion Man is Satan, and
Yeah.
Satan is coming to throw negative
Dandelion.
thought, or it's like, oh, worldly people are gonna come and they're gonna try and sully your crop with.
That's what I think it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty. He does explain it, so we're gonna get an answer here. But we gotta read the mustard seed and the yeast first, because that's what happens in chronological order for no reason. So he told them another parable: the kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, which a man took and planted in his field. Though it is the smallest of all seeds.
I gotta hold on.
That can't
I
be
gotta look
right.
this up.
That can't be right. I don't need a nitpick here, but mustard seeds cannot be the smallest seed. I've seen coriander. I feel like that's smaller. Are weed seeds even smaller?
What's the smallest seed in the world?
Smallest seed in the world? Definitely not a mustard
Hint.
seed.
Oh, the first thing that comes up is hint. It's not a mustard seed.
Yeah.
The world's smallest seeds, which have no endosperm and contain underdeveloped embryos, are produced by certain epiphytic orchids in the
Take
tropical
that,
rainforest.
mustard seed man.
Wow, this is actually crazy. Some seeds are only 1/300th of an inch, 85 micrometers long. That's interesting. Obviously, they wouldn't know about that because that's the rainforest.
What's the smallest seed in the desert? What's the smallest seed in Israel? Native. That's got to be a hard Google. That's a tough Google. Right
How am I
there.
going to find that?
I don't know
What's the
how you're
small-
going to find that. Because this is famous, maybe it'll have an answer. If the mustard seed's the smallest in the area, they get a pass. It's definitely small, but so are seeds in general.
Okay. Here's on the criticism section for the Wikipedia page for the
Okay.
parable of the mustard seed.
Okay.
It says, quote, technically the mustard seed is only the smallest of seeds grown in soil, but not the smallest seed of all plants. For instance, orchids have smaller seeds, including those of vanilla, which are consumed by humans. These smaller seeds, however, grow on trees and do not grow in soil, like the mustard seed being planted in soil. As Jesus said, quote, the kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, which a man took and planted in the field. Some Bible translations thus use different statements, even though the original Greek is quite explicit on mustard seeds being the smallest.
Okay. I guess God's real.
True.
There it happened. Dude took a mustard seed, planted it, and was like, mustard time. Though it is the smallest of all seeds, yet when it grows, it is the largest of garden plants and becomes a tree, so that the birds can come and perch in its branches. He told them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like yeast that a woman took and mixed into about 60 pounds of flour until it worked through all the dough. I thought I didn't like leavened bread. I thought that was and I know that the idea here
That's
is
ceremonial. The idea was that
yeasty
I
bread
believe
is
they
good.
were told to make unleavened bread for their exodus from Egypt.
It was probably because
but
they didn't have any yeast on them. Really,
maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure the actual outside of it being something that they made for their exodus. I don't know what the cultural significance is.
It'd also be really well. So yeast specifically, you need to have like a starter because it grows on it's its own organism, and so you'd have to have a little bit of wet yeast flour in a goop to sort of exist and take along with you. And in the desert, as a nomadic tribe running from Egypt, I don't think that's viable. or necessarily easy. So maybe that's why. And I mean, unleavened bread is valid.
Sure.
You can eat unleavened bread. That's fine.
Yeah. It's certainly not, as far as I know, any sort of restriction that they just outright can't have it.
In fact, if you want to know more about, this is not biblical, but if you want to know more about the chemical properties of bread and why you can basically live on it for a long, long time, just bread, very similar to potatoes. There's a really fantastic and interesting chemical process that goes when you mix water with flour and let it sit for a minute. That makes it super nutritious, which is not the same as just eating wheat or just eating water. But when they're mixed together and they're allowed to chill for a minute, and then heated and cooked, very interesting. The documentary Cooked on Netflix is a 4-parter that's very fucking interesting. It starts with bread, and whether you like cooking or not, it's just fascinating from a historical perspective. Anyway, so of course, if you put yeast, the point here is if you put yeast in flour and stuff, it'll rise over time, and it'll look like it yields more than 60 pounds. It doesn't, but it'll look like it. Jesus spoke all these things to a crowd in parables. He did not say them he did not say anything to them without using a parable. So is fulfilled what was spoken through the prophet. I will open my mouth in parables. I will utter things since the creation of the world. So now there's the Isaiah thing. So now he's going to explain the weeds. He's going to explain them. Let's see if you were right. Okay. Did you pass catechism? Are you a true Catholic now? Even though you were never that. Shh. Then he left the crowd and went into the house. His disciples came to him and said, "Explain to us the use of parable with the weeds of the field." He answered, "The one who sowed the good seed is the Son of Man." That's me. "The field is the world, and the good seed stands for the people of the kingdom. The weeds are the people of the evil one, and the enemy who sows them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the age, and the harvesters are angels." Okay, never mind. He's just this guy's on. You ever talk to a crackhead?
No.
Oh,
No, I haven't.
well, you've just experienced what it's like.
Okay.
Minus the despair that one ought to feel. And you go, "Oh, I want to help," and he's just like, the Jesus seeds. It's very weird. One time, there was, sadly, I was living in Florida at the time, which is, of course, the place that this happened to me. I was in drive-thru for a Taco Bell, and this lady was definitely on something similar to crack. If it wasn't crack, the pipe looked like a crack pipe. I don't know. Anyway, so she was holding it in her hand, and she walked up to me while I was the car right before the window. She walked up to me while my window was open and was like, "Hey, can I have some money for some food?" And I'm like, "Can I order you something?" She's like, "No, fuck you." And then she walked away, and she was pregnant. Wah, wah, wah. The tragedy of man. However, the good news is that baby came out with a lot of energy. Not a sedentary baby, that's for sure. So, that's a true story, by the way. I didn't make that up. As the weeds are pulled up and burned in the fire, so it will be the end of an age. The Son of Man will send out his angels, and they will weed out his kingdom, everything that causes sin, and all who do evil. They will throw them into the blazing furnace, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Whoever has ears, let them hear. What a nice guy.
Yep.
What a nice fella. So it looks like you failed. You couldn't understand the machinations of his 5-head.
Yeah.
Well,
that's all right.
Are you sure?
I think I failed at being religious. Probably the day we started the show.
The day?
7-8 years ago.
Okay. Well. All right. Well, he goes into Mark in chapter 4. Verse 26, and he says the same thing again. He says the parable of the growing seed and the parable of the mustard seed. Here's the growing seed. He also said, this is shorter too for some reason. This is what the kingdom of God is like. A man scatters seed on the ground. Night and day, whether he sleeps or gets up, the seed sprouts and grows, though he does not know how. You're a farmer. Have they not intuited how farming works yet? I feel like we've known how farming works for 10,000 years. Since the agricultural revolution. We like, maybe not like, oh, look at those stamens on that flower. But like, yeah, it needs water. It needs certain sunlight. There's some nutrients it needs for certain crops. This is a good place to grow that. No?
I mean, it would depend. It's not like a 1-to-1. It's going to be like people have grown their knowledge of how to farm over time.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I don't know. I feel like you should have I feel like if you're a farmer that is sowing seeds, you ought to have the bare minimum understanding. Not like they're little miracle balls that turn into food eventually.
Sure, Jesus isn't a farmer though. He's a god.
And though he does not know how seeds sprout and grow. Okay. All by itself, the soil produces grain. No. First the stalk, then the head, then the full kernel in the head. Corn? As soon as the grain is ripe, he puts the sickle to it because the harvest has come. No, it was wheat. Boo. The parable of the mustard seed. That's all. By the way, that's the end of the growing seed. And he has to reap it. Again, he said, "What shall we say the kingdom of God is like, or what parable shall we use to describe it? It is like a mustard seed, which is the smallest of all seeds on earth." That's different. This one's different. Mark fucked that up. The other one was a little bit. This is the smallest seed that you put in the soil. Okay, all right, okay. This is the smallest seed on earth. Wrong. Fucking get pwned. This is a Hitch slap. Remember those?
Oh god.
Remember Hitch slaps?
I'd rather not.
Now let's recall Hitch slaps for a moment. You guys remember Christopher Hitchens?
Yeah.
Famous lib, who I now who in retrospect was right about one thing, but he was very, very dickish about it. A Hitch slap is when he did a good comeback.
Don't worry though. He made an entire group of certain people believe that drinking whiskey while you do a debate is an entire personality.
All I have is this. I have some Di Serrano from a cocktail I made last night. This is an amaretto liqueur, which is not fancy whiskey. It's just sweet and tasty. Now, I don't want any of this. I had heartburn earlier. I still have heartburn. I don't want any of this. It is tasty, though. It's a good holiday beverage, and it has a fun cap. That's it. That's what if you're not drinking whiskey? Is it a Hitch slap?
I'm gonna say no.
Hitch slap compilation 2013. Anyway, so this continues. So stupid. Yet when planted, the tiny mustard seed. Yet when planted, it grows and becomes the largest of all garden plants. Also probably wrong. With such big branches that the birds can perch in its shade. With many similar parables, Jesus spoke the word to them as much as they could understand. He did not say anything to them without using a parable. But when he was alone with his own disciples, he explained everything. I don't know why the disciples are that interesting. And then in Luke chapter 13, far away from where this is chronologically, according to all the other books, he has just the parable of the mustard seed. And he says, then Jesus asked, "What is the kingdom of God like? What shall I compare it to? It's like a mustard seed which a man took and planted in his garden. It grew and became a tree, and the birds perched in its branches." Again, he asks, "What shall I compare the kingdom of God to? It's like the yeast the woman took, mixed into about 60 pounds of flour, and it worked through all the dough." So I have interpreted this as though the heaven is like a TARDIS.
Sure, fine. That is actually how it was described to me in school. It was like...
It's like little but big?
It was like they showed me a picture. Let me see if I can... Well, I guess it wouldn't matter because...
Nope.
Well, could I share screen? If I share screen, would it show up?
I don't care. Do it.
It
would.
basically it was a picture of a big cube floating in like it would be empty space, but it was blue like a sky with clouds.
Hell yeah.
And I don't know where that depiction comes from. If it's described somewhere else in the Bible that we'll maybe get to, but like
I
it was
feel like
supposed
you
to be,
used to know the answer to that question, but you're so removed from the teachings.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Even since we started this show, it's been like 7 years. So
Yeah.
I'm even further detached than I was when we began the show. But it was like this big cube, and it was like an infinite space inside this cube.
That's pretty rad.
Yeah, I don't know.
Pretty rad. Well, we do have time, so we're going to do it. We're going to talk about lamps.
Okay,
We talk about lamps.
I guess.
Okay, so there's lamps.
If this were TBR 2 years ago, we insert Steve Carell saying "I love lamp" here. Joke.
I love lamp. I guess we would have done that. But the Office was still running when that was a thing, right?
That's not from The Office. That's from
It's
Anchorman. I love
Close enough.
lamp. Do you really love the lamp?
I still,
Are you just
I
saying
still
that
love
because
that movie.
it's fun?
Sex Panther. 60% of the time it works every time. That's like, come on.
Ron Burgundy, you have a massive erection.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just really good.
It's funny.
Oh, good times. So, lamp on a stand. I am missing... Wait. I got to get the Matthew one, though. Matthew lamp on a stand. Matthew lamp on a stand. And this is... Technically, it's lamp under a bushel, right? Which is Matthew 5:15. So I need to go to just Matthew 5. Matthew 5 in the NIV Bibles. And then Matthew 5:15, which is... Okay, so it's part of salt and light in Matthew. And he's talking about a lamp. And we have this just so Hannah can sing a song. So...
I'm not gonna say. Don't build that up because I'm not.
I'll sing it with you, but I don't know the words, so you're gonna do the first part. But I'll get into it. We'll do all. We're gonna do a whole. It's gonna be like a church Dylan Roof would want to shoot up. You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its saltiness, how could it be made salty again? This person does not understand salt. And his name is Jesus, because salt does not lose saltiness. It's made of the same thing until it's gone. It doesn't.
Sure.
He just sucks rocks that are adjacent to salt. He's like, I guess that's how salt works. It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. I don't know what they're talking about. That's not... Do you think... Wait. They were near a salty sea. Do you think they had, like... Because salt, like, the water will evaporate off and stuff. And you think they, like, picked up rocks with, like, sea salt on them? And were like, well, this is shitty salt. And then threw the rocks back? Are they stuck on fucking rocks?
I could see that being a thing people do. People like different flavors and stuff. And they just, if there's salty rocks around and you've literally never tasted anything that didn't taste like asshole, like, maybe you're like... I ate, what would you even... Probably just, like whatever crops you can grow, and then when your mule that you've had for 40 years dies, you get to eat it. Like, I don't know. I'm sure they had livestock. I'm fucking around. I'm being...
You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Now, I forgot that this was a song. When I read it, you started talking to me about a song, and I didn't know what the hell you were saying, and then you sang it, and then it made perfect sense.
The song is, if you've ever been to, like, a kid's church service or anything, you've probably heard this song before. It's this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it repeats, and then
light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
Hold on, there's
bars, fucking bars.
All around the neighborhood, I'm gonna let it shine.
Ooh.
All around the neighborhood, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine all around the neighborhood. Then there's
Why
more.
why I feel like I remember saying, let it shine, let it shine, let
Yeah,
it shine.
yeah.
Okay, that's the
Yeah.
thing. Okay.
Hide it under a bushel. No, I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under a bushel. No, I'm gonna let it shine all the time. Let it shine.
If
This
you,
one's the lyrics are slightly different
for
than
the,
I've heard them.
for the record, if you hide a lamp in this time under a bushel, your house will be in flames.
They had us sing this every day. We would do in my Christian elementary school, my Baptist elementary school. We did the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States. We did a Pledge of Allegiance to the Christian flag, which is a thing if you don't know.
Can you
And
tell
then
me
we
the
did.
Pledge of Allegiance to the Christian flag?
Oh God, I pledge allegiance to the. No, I'd have to look it up. Hold on, let me look.
There's a Christian Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the Christ who was definitely white.
Hold on, I'll pull it up.
Okay.
Okay. The one for the Christian flag is, and if you don't know, it's a white flag.
Oh, wow.
In the corner,
Surprise.
there's a blue space similar to the American flag where it's got the, but instead of stars, it's just a red cross. And that was, I pledge allegiance to the Christian flag and to the Savior for whose kingdom it stands, one brotherhood uniting all mankind in service and love. And then we also had to pledge allegiance to the Bible. And that goes,
totally
I
different.
pledge allegiance to the Bible, God's holy word. I'll make it a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path, and will hide its words in my heart that I might not sin against God. And then after we did all these creepy pledges to the country and to our religion and to the text of our religion, then we'd sing one of a rotation of children's Christian songs, and this was one of them. And when it got to the verse that went, don't let Satan blow it out, so it's more fun, they'd have us go, don't let Satan it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Don't let Satan it out. I'm gonna let it's bad. So, so you know, children are being heavily indoctrinated, and I don't use that term lightly in this case,
really?
in private schools across the country. If you wonder how some people are like so jingoistic in terms of like the United States can do no wrong and this country's about guns and God, and anyone who tells me otherwise can kiss my ass and I'm gonna threaten you with terroristic action, it's because they grew up in places like this where it was literally drilled into their heads every single day as children.
If I was starting a religious school around that time, instead of doing that kind of stuff, you know what I'd hit them with? I'd definitely indoctrinate the kids, okay? Because, I'll just sing it for you and you'll understand. Well, I just heard the news today. It seems my life is gonna change. I close my eyes. You getting it now? Begin to pray, and tears of joy stream down my face.
With arms wide open.
No. With arms wide open.
Okay.
It's Scott Stapp. He can't say things correctly. That's okay. You didn't go to that school. It's fine. You get it wrong. That's okay. But your soul was almost saved there because of Scott Stapp. Yeah. I'm talking a real hip kids youth pastor creed-based education, okay? Nothing happens without a song by Creed backing it. It'll be beautiful. Wasn't that also? Remember that Matt Damon movie? It was a cartoon. It was like After Earth or AE or something like that, and it was
Titan AE.
Titan AE. There was a Creed song. Was it this one?
I don't remember. I didn't see Titan AE.
Oh, you should watch Titan AE. It is dated. Anyway, so Creed aside, we've done Matthew. Matthew did the lamps and stuff. That's all good. Mark also did a lamp. Mark has lamp time. It's exactly the same thing. Except there's a little bit of thing in the end. He said to them, "Do you bring a lamp to put it under a bowl or bed? Instead, Don't you put it on a stand, for whatever is hidden is meant to be disclosed, and whatever is concealed is meant to be brought out into the light. If anyone has ears to hear, let them hear. Consider carefully what you hear, he continued. With the measure you use it, it will be measured to you, and even more. Whoever has will be given more. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them. So, I don't know. Something about, there's no class consciousness there at all. Marx did not write that last bit. So he doesn't like you. And then Luke chapter 8, verse 16 is lamp on a stand again. It's exactly the same as before. There's nothing really to tell. So that's the lamp story. That's all of it.
Okay.
We did it. We're not close to the crucifixion. I want to be, but we're not there yet.
Yeah, that'll be good. I'm tired of dealing with like all the gospels being,
You know what's happening? Though?
Samey, but different enough that we got to read them.
So there's been talk for quite some time, and we're finally gonna get it. Okay, now our review of the first movie is probably not even available at this point. I think they've smited that into submission, and that is our review of Passion of the Christ.
Yeah.
However, Passion of the Christ Resurrection with Jim fucking Caviezel, that's happening.
Are they going to explain why Jesus all of a sudden looks 20 years older?
Because time is different in hell.
Sure.
When you're there for just a bit.
Fine.
Mel Gibson and Jim Caviezel are going to do so much anti-Semitism, probably. It's going to be great. It's going to be so good. I am looking forward to that. I hope by the time we get to the crucifixion, Passion of the Christ 2, Resurrection is happening. But I don't know when it's happening. Is it? I'm seeing a lot of. This has been kicked around since 2016, by the way. So, but they say that there's now a script that Jim Caviezel has received. So
okay.
We might be in luck. I could always use. I'll take an excuse to consume some Jim Caviezel.
Okay.
What's his best film?
What's another film he did other than Passion of the Christ?
Don't put me on the spot like that. Jim Caviezel, IMDb. Let's see. What's he got? As an actor, of course, he did The Sound of Freedom, Infidel, Paul, Apostle of Christ. Trying to look and see if there's anything he's done. He was in a Denzel Washington movie in 2006 called Deja Vu.
Yeah, that movie sucks.
Oh. He was in... Wow, he hasn't done stuff for a while, has he? He was in Frequency! Remember Frequency?
Is that where
Dennis
there's
Quaid's.
ghosts?
He's
There's
Dennis
ghosts talking through Signal or something?
Well, Dennis Quaid is alive. He's not a ghost. He's just in the past. It's a time travel CB radio movie where Jim Caviezel is Dennis Quaid's son. Okay. Well, he was also in G.I. Jane. There we go. We did it. We found Jim Caviezel's best movie. It's Frequency with Dennis Quaid. So, that's the end. That's the end of that Bible study. It's finally over. What do we got next? More parables?
Probably.
That's exciting. There's nothing I'm more excited for than Parables by Jesus Christ.
It'll be fine.
And tears of joy stream down my well. You know Scott Stapp? I feel like I've told you this before. Scott Stapp was in an orgy with Kid Rock at one point.
I'm sure. Weirdly, I think you have told me that before. We've been friends too long. We're having the same conversations.
Well, this is for
about
them, not for you.
Celebrity orgies. Okay.
But the best part is there's a little bit of film from it, I guess. And he says, Scott Stapp in like 1998 or whenever this was, 2000 something. He says, in the middle of the orgy video, or at some point during the orgy video, he says, "It's good to be king." And that's the way I like my Scott Stapp. Is peak at his peak.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to see Scott today. That seems like it would be depressing.
Probably.
You think he's been? When's the last? Does Creed still put music out?
I don't know.
They still doing stuff?
I don't know anything about Creed. I don't listen to Creed.
Creed. What you got? Creed band. They put... Oh, no. They're on a hiatus, according to... This is a hiatus. They're not gone. They haven't broken up. It's from 2013 to present.
Oh, that's a long hiatus, but okay.
Uh-oh. This month, drummer Scott Phillips... All the band members are named Scott. Scott Phillips announced that a reunion was possible. Okay, fine. I'm the only one hyped for this. All right, that's fine. I didn't need that. It's okay. All right, so if you want to be hyped for Scott Stapp with me, come back. If you want to be not hyped for Scott Stapp with Hannah, come back. Either way, there's only two kinds of people in this world. People that are excited for the Creed reunion and people who are not.
True. That is true.
Do you think are they going to have an exclusive song for Passion of the Christ 2? If that doesn't fucking happen, I swear to God, this world does not deserve any good if that doesn't happen. Mel Gibson needs to get on that shit. Bring Creed back to the forefront of American consciousness.
Please don't.
What if I... Singing like Scott Stapp is the best way to sing. That's a fact. Any song. Pick a song. I'll sing it like Scott Stapp.
I don't know. World of Imagination from Willy Wonka.
I don't know how to sing that.
Oh, you've not seen Willy Wonka?
A world of pure imagination.
Yeah.
A world of pure imagination.
Okay.
Scott Stapp. Anyway, that's the end. Leave. Goodbye. I love you. Have a good time. Enjoy.